The man thought he had just bought scrap, but what he actually bought had been waiting for 7,000 years, and it was still alive. Marcus Vale stood in the noisy alien auction hall, trying not to look out of place. He failed. He always did. Humans were still new in the galaxy, and no matter how confident he acted, every eye in the room seemed to linger on him just a second too long. Around him, creatures whispered, clicked, and hummed in languages his translator struggled to keep up with. Some had glowing skin. Others floated. One looked like a cloud filled with lightning. Marcus didn't care. He wasn't here to fit in. He was here to find something everyone else had missed. Lot 73, the auctioneer announced, its voice echoing like metal scraping glass. Sealed hangar. Lower orbit sector. Estimated age, 7,000 years. No confirmed valuable materials. Opening bid, 50 credits. Silence. Marcus smiled. 7,000 years. To most species, that meant useless. Obsolete. Dead history. To humans, it meant opportunity. He raised his hand calmly. 11 credits. The room burst into laughter. Even the auctioneer paused. Minimum. There is no minimum, Marcus interrupted. You stated opening bid, not required bid. Galactic trade law allows it. The auctioneer froze for a moment, then checked its system. Legal. More silence. Then. Sold. Marcus didn't smile again. Because he already knew something no one else did. Old things weren't worthless. Old things were dangerous. 2 days later, Marcus stood in front of Hangar 73. The door was massive. Ancient. Covered in symbols scratched deep into the metal. Not warnings painted in fear. Warnings carved in desperation. His small crew stood behind him. Lena, the engineer, scanned the surface with narrowed eyes. This isn't normal, she said quietly. This isn't even advanced. It's different. How? Marcus asked. It's not trying to keep people out, she said. She paused. It's trying to keep something in. No one laughed this time. Taro, their pilot, took a step back. We can leave. No loss. 11 credits isn't worth dying for. Marcus didn't move. He stepped closer to the door. The metal felt warm. After 7,000 years. That wasn't possible. Open it, he said. Lena hesitated. Then nodded. The unlocking process took nearly an hour. Every mechanism inside was mechanical, layered, complex. It wasn't designed to be broken. It was designed to resist time itself. Finally. Clunk. Then another. Then a deep, echoing sound like something ancient waking up. The door slowly opened. Air hissed. Darkness waited. Marcus stepped inside first. The hangar was enormous. Bigger than anything Marcus had ever seen. And at its center was a ship. It didn't look like modern technology. It wasn't smooth or efficient. It was artistic. Curved like flowing water. Covered in patterns that looked almost alive. It felt less like a machine and more like a monument. Wow, Lena whispered. But Marcus wasn't looking at the ship anymore. Because something stood in front of it. At first, his mind refused to understand it. It looked like smoke. But smoke didn't move like that. It twisted, coiled, and shifted, forming shapes that shouldn't exist. Then he saw the faces. Hundreds. No, thousands. Emerging and disappearing within the shifting mass. Eyes wide. Mouths open. Frozen in silent screams. The thing turned toward them. All the faces turned at once. And then. It spoke. Not through sound. Through thought. Leave. Taro ran. Lena followed instantly. Marcus didn't. He couldn't. Fear locked his body in place. The entity moved closer. The air grew colder. He could feel something pressing against his mind, reading him. Judging him. You are not like the others. Marcus swallowed. I don't know what you mean. The faces shifted. Some looked angry. Some looked broken. Some looked curious. Others come with greed. With weapons. With purpose. A pause. You come with fear. Marcus let out a shaky breath. Yeah, that sounds about right. For a moment. The entity stopped. Something changed. The faces softened. Just slightly. Fear is honest. Marcus blinked. That wasn't what he expected. Look, he said slowly, I didn't come here to steal anything. The entity moved closer. Now it towered over him. All who enter say that. Marcus shook his head. No. Humans don't lie like that. Another pause. The entity seemed confused. Explain. Marcus took a deep breath. Humans lie, sure. But not about fear. If we're scared, we admit it. We don't pretend we're stronger than we are. The faces flickered. Something shifted again. Strange species. Yeah, Marcus said, managing a small smile. We get that a lot. Silence filled the hangar. Heavy. Ancient. Then Marcus asked the question he couldn't ignore. What are you? The entity froze. Then slowly. We were. Crew. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Were. We chose duty over death. The faces twisted. Pain. Memory. Regret. We became guardian. Marcus understood. Not fully. But enough. You're trapped, he said softly. The entity didn't respond. But it didn't deny it. Marcus looked past it, at the ship. What are you protecting? The reaction was immediate. Violent. The entity surged. The air cracked with pressure. Do not ask. Marcus raised his hands quickly. Okay. Okay. I won't. Silence returned. Slowly. Carefully. Marcus lowered his hands. I'll leave, he said. The entity didn't move. But it didn't attack either. Marcus took a step back. Then another. At the doorway, he stopped. Something pulled at him. Not fear. Something else. Curiosity. No one's come here in thousands of years, right? No answer. Marcus nodded. Yeah. I figured. He hesitated. Then said something no one else would have said. I'll come back tomorrow. The entity reacted instantly. Why? Marcus shrugged. Because you shouldn't be alone. The hangar fell completely silent. For the first time. The faces stopped screaming. Just for a moment. Just long enough. To listen. Marcus turned and walked out. Outside, his crew was waiting in panic. We're leaving, Lena said immediately. Now. Marcus shook his head. No. Taro stared at him like he was insane. That thing will kill us. Marcus looked back at the hangar. No, he said quietly. It won't. He paused. Then added. I think it forgot how. And for the first time since entering the galaxy, a human had done something no other species ever dared. He chose not to fight. He chose not to run. He chose to understand. And somewhere deep inside that ancient darkness, something impossible began to change. The hangar was silent when Marcus returned the next day. The crew waited outside, tense and uncertain. Taro paced nervously. I don't like this, Marcus. That thing isn't friendly. We shouldn't be here. Marcus shook his head. We're not here to fight. We're here to learn. Lena crossed her arms. Learn what? It's a living nightmare trapped in 7,000-year-old steel. There's nothing to learn. Marcus ignored her and stepped inside. The air was thick and metallic. The entity, this guardian, was waiting. Its mass of shifting faces pulsed slowly, almost like it was breathing. Back again, the guardian said. Its voice wasn't in the air, but inside Marcus' mind. He flinched, but steadied himself. I came back, Like I said, he replied. No weapons, no tools. Just me. The Guardian rippled, a wave of faces changing. Some faces looked curious. Some wary. Many looked exhausted. Marcus realized these were more than just memories. They were echoes of lives. Thousands of individuals fused into one consciousness. "Why return?" the Guardian asked, the question vibrating in his skull. Marcus took a slow breath. Because no one should stay alone for 7,000 years. Because fear is honest, but we need more than fear to survive. We need understanding. A ripple of soundless laughter passed through the faces. Strange species. Maybe, Marcus said softly. But that's what humans do. He sat down near the doorway, careful not to approach the Guardian too closely. He unpacked a small pack, simple rations. Bread, water, some dried fruit. He ate slowly, deliberately, making sure the Guardian could see. Why eat? Because I'm alive, Marcus replied. I need energy. Humans eat to survive. That's how we keep moving forward, how we create, how we build, how we solve problems. You don't need energy, do you? The Guardian's faces flickered, almost recoiling. We need nothing. We exist to guard, to protect, not to live. Marcus studied the faces carefully. Is that loneliness? He asked quietly. Do you feel it? The Guardian hesitated. For the first time, Marcus thought he sensed hesitation in something that had been eternal for thousands of years. Yes. We feel nothing. Yet we are aware of everything. Observing. Endlessly. Time does not touch us. Yet we notice it. Marcus nodded slowly. It's strange to think that something can exist for thousands of years, see everything, and never really live. Humans. We're brief. We make mistakes. We feel everything. Every moment counts. That's why we keep going, even when it's hard. The Guardian's faces shifted again, slower this time. Curiosity. Not fear. Not anger. Your lives are chaotic. Brief. But you. Experience. Yes, Marcus said. Experience is the point. Not the years, not the power, not the memory. The point is being alive, even if it's painful. Even if it ends too soon. A long silence filled the hangar. Then the Guardian spoke, softer this time. Painful. Yet valuable. You value what is temporary. Marcus smiled faintly. Exactly. And that's why humans matter. Over the next few days, Marcus returned each morning. Always alone. Always unarmed. Always bringing something small, a snack, a tablet with images of Earth, even a book from his personal library. At first, the Guardian observed silently. Then, slowly, it began to ask questions. Human. Why create art? Art. Marcus repeated. Because we want to express ourselves. Because we can't always explain with words what we feel inside. We paint, we write, we compose, we build, to leave a mark that outlives us. The Guardian pulsed, faces flickering with incomprehension. To leave. Mark. Purpose. Yes, Marcus said, carefully. Purpose. Something that means something. Something more than existing for duty or survival. Something that connects us to others, even after we're gone. We exist to protect. To maintain. To endure. Marcus nodded. That's duty. That's noble. But it isn't enough. Even the bravest warriors, the smartest scientists, the most loyal protectors, they need more. Even if it's a moment, a feeling, a thought, it matters. For a long moment, the hangar was silent. Then the Guardian shifted again, its faces softer. You teach? I suppose I am, Marcus said. But maybe you're teaching me too. On the 5th day, Marcus brought music. He set up a small player and let it fill the hangar with sound, human music, from jazz to classical to folk. The Guardians' faces twisted at first, almost in pain. Then, curiosity, hunger, recognition. Something human, something alive. What is this? Music, Marcus said. It's like life in sound. It's chaos, beauty, sadness, joy, all at once. It changes you, even if you can't move or speak. The faces rippled. Some expressions mirrored awe, others confusion. We were programmed to guard, to protect, not to feel. Yes, Marcus said gently, but maybe you still can. Maybe you've forgotten what it's like. You can remember now. The Guardian seemed to pause, the shadows of thousands of lives shifting quietly. Remember. Yes, Marcus said. Feel curiosity. Feel wonder. Feel small victories. It's all human, but it's something worth having, even if it's brief. For the first time in millennia, the Guardian seemed almost alive. Not as a machine, not as duty-bound energy, but as something aware. Something learning. Something changing. Marcus stood slowly. I'll leave now, he said, but I'll return. And next time, maybe I'll bring something new for us to share. You'll see. You can still feel. You can still choose. Even if it's hard. The Guardian pulsed once, slowly. Faces flickering with something that resembled hope. Return. Human. Return and teach us. Marcus left the hangar that day with a sense of accomplishment. Not from treasure, not from discovery, but from connection. The impossible, the eternal, the fearful, was beginning to understand. And Marcus Vale, human, brief in lifespan but vast in curiosity, had started a change no alien, empire, or millennia could have predicted. Marcus returned to Hangar 73 before sunrise. The station's corridors were quiet, save for the faint hum of life support systems and the distant chatter of early shift workers. His crew waited outside, tense but obedient. They trusted Marcus more than they admitted. Inside, the hangar was darker than before, the shadows longer, the air heavier. The Guardian was already present, its mass of faces shimmering like black liquid under faint light. It didn't move toward him, yet Marcus felt its awareness pressing against his mind, probing, curious. Human. Returned again. Purpose? The Guardian asked. Marcus took a deep breath. I want to understand. Not just you, not just this ship, but everything you've protected. I want to know why it mattered so much to someone so long ago. The Guardian pulsed. Knowledge. Sacred. Dangerous. Not for others. Marcus nodded. I get that. But knowledge doesn't have to be a weapon. It can inspire, it can teach, it can help. That's why humans preserve things, even if it's risky. Because we see value beyond ourselves. The faces shifted. Some seemed skeptical. Some, hopeful. Marcus had learned to read the subtleties. Even the Guardian could not hide curiosity. He stepped closer to the ship. The hull shimmered under the hangar lights, engraved with symbols that Marcus couldn't decipher yet. They weren't letters, not in any language he had encountered. They were patterns, flowing like water, pulsing like life. Tell me about these, Marcus said. What did they mean to the Anther? The Guardian paused, and the faces rippled. Languages. Lost. Art. Preserved. Truth of people. Marcus traced a finger across the cold metal. Truth of people, he whispered. You mean everything they valued, everything they were? Yes. All that remained. To guard. We became their memory, their watchers, their final choice. Marcus felt the weight of those words settle in his chest. Thousands of lives, fused into one consciousness, eternal, yet imprisoned in duty. And yet, they were still aware. Still capable of reaction. Still able to change. He stepped back. What if there was a way to set you free? What if you didn't have to guard anymore, but the knowledge stayed safe? The Guardian's mass shifted violently. Faces twisted in fear, anger, disbelief. Free. Impossible. Duty. Eternal. Failure. Unacceptable. I'm not saying destroy it, Marcus said carefully. I'm saying there might be a way to honor your duty without you being trapped forever. Let me help you. Let me figure it out. For a long time, the hangar was silent. Then a single voice, human-like, gentle, hesitant, broke through the torrent of thoughts. Human. You. Thinkable. Yes, Marcus said softly. It's human to think the impossible. And sometimes, thinking is the first step to changing reality. Marcus spent the next several hours exploring the hangar, documenting every detail he could see. Lena and Taro remained outside, but Marcus didn't mind. This was his mission alone. He ran sensors, mapped the ship, examined the strange engravings, and noted every anomaly in the Guardian's behavior. He noticed patterns in the faces. Some reacted strongly when he approached certain areas. Some seemed to recognize him. Marcus realized that the Guardian wasn't just aware, it was learning. And more than that, it was responding emotionally to his choices. He paused near the bridge of the ancient ship. The doors were sealed, reinforced by layers of unknown alloys. Yet the Guardian allowed him to approach. There was no resistance. Not yet. Why are you letting me do this? Marcus asked aloud. Curious. Human. Different. The voices pulsed through his mind. Different from others who took. Who destroyed. Who plundered. Marcus smiled faintly. I don't want to take anything. I just want to understand. The Guardian paused. Understand. Maybe. Permissible. That single word felt like a victory. One step closer. Hours turned into days. Each time Marcus returned, he brought something new, human history data, images, even stories of humanity's small victories and failures. He told the Guardian about Earth's mountains, oceans, cities, and the resilience of people who rebuilt after disasters. The Guardian absorbed everything. Faces that once screamed in agony now softened. Expressions of confusion and despair slowly gave way to curiosity and, what Marcus could only describe as wonder. One day, Marcus brought a simple human puzzle, a sequence of shapes that built logic patterns. He set it before the Guardian and waited. What? Purpose? It's a puzzle, Marcus said. Humans use puzzles to teach the mind, to stretch imagination, to understand patterns in ways logic alone cannot. The Guardian hesitated, then a ripple passed through its mass. Faces twisted in concentration. Shapes moved in the air, mimicking the puzzle. Marcus felt a thrill. The Guardian was learning. It was thinking creatively. Not just following duty, not just obeying orders, it was growing. For the first time, Marcus realized that perhaps the Guardian's eternal imprisonment had not completely broken it. That seed of humanity, the curiosity, the wonder, still existed, dormant, waiting for someone like him to awaken it. By the end of the week, Marcus was exhausted, but he didn't stop. Each day was an experiment in patience, empathy, and strategy. He talked to the Guardian about human courage, ingenuity, and the stubbornness to survive against impossible odds. He told it stories of people who had outsmarted threats far bigger and more powerful than themselves. The Guardian listened. Faces shifted subtly. Some expressions mirrored admiration. Some uncertainty. Some amusement. Human. You. Strange. Yet. Effective. Marcus grinned. That's us. Humans always find a way, even when the odds are stacked against us. Even when everyone else gives up. The Guardian's mass pulsed slowly. Odds. Infinite. Yet you. Succeed. Yes, Marcus said. Because we never give up. Because even if it seems hopeless, we keep moving. That's what separates us from every other species. For the first time in 7,000 years, the Guardian seemed uncertain. Not confused, not angry. Uncertain. Curious. Hesitant. And Marcus knew, this was the crack. The first crack in an unbreakable prison. Something impossible was beginning to happen. The Eternal Guardian, bound for millennia to a mission it could not abandon, was starting to understand a new concept, hope. And humans had brought it to life. The next morning, Marcus arrived at Hangar 73 with a determination that surpassed any fear. The station was quiet, almost too quiet. Even Taro and Lena, who normally hovered nervously nearby, stayed at a distance, unsure of what would happen next. Marcus didn't care. He had learned that some battles weren't fought with weapons, they were fought with patience, understanding, and courage. Inside, the Guardian awaited him. Its swirling mass of faces had changed again. Gone were the frantic expressions of agony. Some faces now seemed thoughtful. Others, curious. Marcus could feel a difference in the way it regarded him. Not as an intruder. Not as a thief. But as someone who might understand. Human. You return again. Purpose. Marcus smiled. I'm here to help. Not just you, but the ship, the knowledge, everyone you've protected. Maybe there's a way to release your burden while keeping everything safe. The Guardians' faces flickered. Impossible. We. Bound. Duty. Eternal. Maybe, Marcus said softly, but humans are good at the impossible. We survive against odds that would crush others. And I think you can too. He stepped closer to the ancient warship at the center of the hangar. Its hull shimmered like liquid metal, engravings flowing with patterns that no human mind could fully comprehend. Yet Marcus wasn't intimidated. He had learned to see not just the ship, but the purpose it represented. A civilization's legacy, preserved for millennia, and guarded by a consciousness that had forgotten itself. Approach. Dangerous. Human. I'm not here to harm, Marcus reassured. I want to understand. And maybe, help you remember what it means to feel beyond duty. Marcus spent hours that day examining the ship. Lena and Taro had given up trying to interfere. They understood that Marcus' mission wasn't just physical. It was mental. Emotional. Strategic. He projected holographic maps of human history onto the air. Images of cities rising from ruins, empires falling, and ordinary humans performing extraordinary feats. The Guardian watched silently. Marcus could feel a subtle change. Its attention was not defensive anymore. It was analytical, curious, engaged, human. You. Value. Chaos. Yes, Marcus replied. Chaos is life. It challenges us. It makes us stronger, smarter. We adapt. We survive. We create. The Guardian pulsed, faces shifting rapidly. Adapt. Survive. Create. You. Different. Yes, Marcus said. And maybe that difference is exactly what you need. You've been guarding for 7,000 years. Maybe it's time to awaken the ship fully, not to fight, not to destroy, but to live again in some way. The Guardian paused. For the first time, Marcus sensed hesitation, not fear, but uncertainty. Something almost human. Marcus decided it was time for the next step. He reached into his pack and brought out a small interface device he had engineered specifically for this moment. He activated it near the ship's hull. Energy rippled from the device, not harming the Guardian, but interacting with the ship's ancient systems. What? Human. Doing. I'm teaching, Marcus said. I'm showing you a way to interact with the ship that doesn't destroy anyone or anything. You can release your burden. Let the ship awaken without losing your purpose. The Guardian hesitated, swirling mass pausing mid-motion. Then, slowly, it allowed Marcus to proceed. The device interfaced with the ship, scanning its systems, activating dormant energy cores, and translating patterns that had been silent for millennia. The hangar hummed with a sound unlike any Marcus had heard, a resonance that seemed to vibrate both the metal and the Guardian itself. The faces shifted faster, almost frantically, then paused. A single, unified thought pulsed through Marcus' mind: awaken. Human. Teach. Possible. Marcus grinned. Yes. Possible. As the energy cores came online, the ship began to glow faintly. Lines of light traced the engravings, flowing across the hull like rivers of memory. The Guardian's mass trembled in response, faces twisting in what Marcus could only describe as wonder. Sensation. Strange. Feel. Human. You feel it, Marcus said. You're connected again. Not just guarding. Not just remembering. You're alive. You can think. You can feel. And you can protect without being trapped. The hangar was filled with light now, warm and almost alive. Marcus stepped back, letting the Guardian and the ship connect. He could feel the centuries of duty, the thousands of lives, the immense responsibility, and somehow, it was starting to shift. Slowly, carefully, the eternal weight was lifting. We awaken. Marcus nodded. Yes. But you don't have to do it alone. Humans learn by sharing, by teaching, by connecting. You can still protect the ship, but in a way that doesn't cost you your existence. The Guardian pulsed once more, faces merging, flickering, then stabilizing. It seemed lighter, freed, yet still vigilant, still aware, still guarding, but no longer imprisoned. Marcus exhaled. 7,000 years of duty had been unbearable. Now, for the first time, the Guardian had choice. That night, Marcus left the hangar with Lena and Taro behind him. The Guardian's presence lingered in his mind, not threatening, not cold, but alive and aware. Something impossible had happened. Humanity, brief and fragile as it was, had outsmarted an ancient alien force, not with brute strength or weaponry, but with patience, empathy, and ingenuity. Taro broke the silence. You did it, didn't you? Marcus nodded. We did it. Not me alone. Humans, the Guardian, we all played a part. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning. And somewhere deep in Hangar 73, the ancient warship stirred. Not in anger. Not in defense. But in recognition of life, of curiosity, and of hope. The very things humans carried with them wherever they went. For the first time in millennia, the Guardian looked forward to tomorrow. Marcus returned to Hangar 73 one final time, carrying nothing but a small tablet filled with human art, literature, and scientific achievements. Lena and Taro had reluctantly agreed to stay back. This was his mission alone. Marcus didn't need anyone else for this. The Guardian, now calm and composed, awaited him at the entrance, its shifting faces reflecting a strange mixture of anticipation and wonder. Human. You return. Again. Purpose. I've brought you a gift, Marcus said softly. Not for you to guard, not for you to destroy, but for you to understand what life can mean beyond duty. Knowledge, art, ideas, humanity's legacy. You can choose to learn. You can choose to feel. The Guardian pulsed, faces rippling. Learn. Feel. Choice. Human. Impossible. Yet. Marcus smiled. Nothing is impossible for humans. We survive, adapt, and create in the worst circumstances imaginable. And we see value in things you may have thought were lost forever. He projected the tablet into the air. Paintings from Earth floated alongside photos of mountains and oceans. Music streamed in soft waves. Stories of courage, ingenuity, and survival filled the hangar, touching the Guardian in ways it had not experienced in 7 millennia. At first, the Guardian resisted. Faces twisted, expressions of disbelief and sorrow flickering across its mass. But slowly, curiosity won. Faces softened. Some mirrored awe. Some mirrored joy. A ripple of recognition passed through the Guardian, an echo of what it might have once called hope. This. Strange. Yet. Beautiful. Human. Yes, Marcus said. It is beautiful. Life is messy. Unpredictable. Short. But it matters. Every moment matters. The Guardian moved closer to the ship. It reached out, if a Guardian could reach, and lightly touched the hull. Light traced the engravings once more. Marcus watched in amazement as the ancient warship responded to the Guardian's curiosity. Symbols glowed softly, and the ship hummed like a living being. We understand. Human. You teach. I'm just showing you what it means to be alive, Marcus said. To value connection, creativity, and knowledge. To carry purpose without letting it destroy you. That's what humans do every day. The Guardian pulsed brighter, faces intertwining. Thousands of lives merged into one unified consciousness, yet something extraordinary had shifted. It wasn't trapped anymore. It wasn't just duty. It could think, learn, and, perhaps most surprisingly, feel. Over the next week, Marcus continued to visit. Each time, he shared new human achievements, scientific breakthroughs, heroic stories of individuals outsmarting impossible odds, tales of courage and sacrifice. The Guardian absorbed everything, its understanding deepening. For the first time, it began to ask questions, not orders. Questions about humans, about creativity, about what it meant to live rather than merely exist. Human. Why value? Moments. So short. Marcus smiled. Because short moments are all we have. The brevity of life makes everything matter more. Humans don't have the luxury of time, so we make every second count. And that's why we can change things, even when the odds seem impossible. The Guardian paused, faces flickering between comprehension and awe. Odds. Infinite. Yet you succeed. Human. Strange. Yet impressive. Yes, Marcus said. That's why we're here. That's why we endure. That's why we matter. Finally, the moment arrived. Marcus stepped aside, letting the Guardian approach the ship fully. With its permission, he activated the ship's systems. Light cascaded across the hull, engines powered up, and the long-dormant vessel stirred with life. It was no longer just a machine. It was a legacy, a repository of knowledge, art, and wisdom preserved across the ages. The Guardian floated above the ship, its faces calm and bright, no longer screaming or twisted in agony. It had learned. It had evolved. It had finally reclaimed its existence, not just as a Guardian, but as something alive, something aware, something free. We are alive. Human. Thank you. Marcus nodded. No, we should thank you. You've taught me what duty and sacrifice really mean. And you've shown that even the eternal can learn, even the bound can be free. That's the human way. We never give up, we never stop learning, and we always find a way. Outside the hangar, Lena and Taro waited, astonished at the transformation. Marcus walked past them, smiling. Mission accomplished. Lena asked. Not just a mission, Marcus replied. A legacy. The Guardian, the ship, the knowledge, it all survives. Humanity has changed the course of this story. That's what we do. The station's lights flickered over Hangar 73 as the ancient warship powered up fully, glowing like a monument to civilizations long gone. The Guardian hovered over it, alive and aware, finally free to feel, think, and choose. Marcus Vale had not just uncovered a forgotten warship. He had ignited hope in something that had been eternal, unchanging, and trapped. Humans had shown what they could do, survive, inspire, and transform the impossible. For the first time in 7,000 years, Hangar 73 was no longer silent. It thrummed with life. Knowledge, memory, art, and legacy, all protected, all preserved. And for the first time, Marcus realized that humans didn't just inherit the stars, they changed them. The Guardian looked at him, faces calm, and for the first time, smiled.